Had a couple minutes. You can introduce yourself to people around you if you don't know. Like, it turns out there's lots of econ majors. Oh, I'm serious. Like literally, like actually introduce yourself to people.
Here.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it. Yeah.
It's like we don't really say Still the same. Pretty good that information. About like
Yeah.
Tommy Tweed. Yes. Sounds like good friends.
Right. Actually, do you know what's his face? Like
Yeah, I mentioned.
You don't have a choice.
I'm sorry.
What is that? If there's any. I need to like the concentration. I want to hear it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it took a solid.
All right, we are gonna try not to waste your time. We're gonna make this a very efficient meeting. We'll be out of here in 30 seconds. Dean Freeze, you want to introduce yourself?
Dean Freeze. Mike Freeze, let's see. So 1993 grad of econ, Zom Hall. What else? Came back here in 2007. It's been great being back. We started this program here 9 years ago. You would be the 10th cohort. It's been a lot of fun. We'll kind of walk you through what this is all about. In terms of introducing myself, I also used to teach intermediate macro. I haven't done that recently. I've taught money, credit, and banking. And now he called me Dean Freeze because I'm an associate dean in the college associate dean for social sciences, which means I'm middle management.
Yeah, no, that's right. I'm Forrest Spence. I'm lower middle management. I've been here since 2015. I'm the director of the undergraduate program, which means like essentially I just get lots of emails and I help plan stuff like this.
He does it all very well.
Mike does a lot of the coordination for the concentration. He's the guy that got it all started 9-10 years ago. But we're glad you're here, and like we're just gonna kind of go quickly through the information related to the concentration, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, okay. So, and thanks everyone for coming. So in terms of why pursue this concentration, or we can even back up a little bit. Why did we start this? We felt that there were a lot of students at Notre Dame who were interested in careers in finance or just wanted to know more about finance, but who didn't want to be in Mendoza. For whatever reason, they didn't want to take all those management and accounting and all those other classes that you would have to take if that were your home college. And so we created this program to give econ majors an opportunity to learn kind of everything they need to know about finance, or almost everything they need to know about finance, to enter into a career in finance. Now, you'll probably have lots of classmates who are also econ majors who don't do this program and end up getting a job in iBanking or something. But I think this program really sets students up well for anything where you kind of want to know something about finance. So as we get into a little bit more about kind of what the program is about, I'll be able to give you a little bit more commentary about that. But some of the real benefits of the concentration, clearly job prospects. Students that come out of this program do great. Not everyone goes into finance related jobs. Some go into iBanking, but some go into asset management. Actually, quite a few go into some sort of consulting, and then other people just go into pretty much anything.
Arts and letters,
just general arts and letters.
Everything.
Exactly. I guess I'm working backwards in the bullets here, but you get to take a deep dive in a particular subject area. So you're going to actually feel like you kind of have mastered something pretty well. And that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to feel like you actually kind of have mastered a particular area as opposed to just dabbling in a bunch of different things. More advanced quantitative skills, as you'll see when we go through the curriculum, these classes or the classes that you'll be required to take are a little bit more mathematically rigorous, a little bit more quantitative in nature. Not to an extreme, but they're definitely going to help hone your quantitative skills. In particular, you'll need to take a course called Financial Econometrics, which is, of course, you will have had to have taken econometrics first. But my feeling is that no one who takes econometrics really understands econometrics. I think you really only understand econometrics until you take that next class, where you apply the stuff again and the stuff actually starts to sink in and you start to develop some intuition for it. And so I think that's a nice feature of this program. And then the bullet point there at top might be the most important, is that you get to take 3 courses in this program where it'll only be the students in this concentration. And there tend to be about 30 to 35 students. And so you'll get to know each other quite well. You'll do problem sets together. You'll prepare presentations or stock pitches together. We have quite a few social events, pizza parties, end of semester outing to Brewburger, that sort of thing, where you get to know a group of students with similar interests and get to know them fairly well. I've seen a lot of real good friendships form over the years among the students in the concentration. And that's nice because, as Forrest was saying, econ is such a big major. There's about 1,000 majors.
It's like between 900 and 1,000 international econ majors.
Yeah, so among your classmates, the current sophomores, there's about 300, and you probably only know maybe 20 of them. So this kind of helps to make it into a smaller major. As Forrest said, we'll have time at the end for questions, but feel free to kind of raise your hand if you've got any questions about anything I say. I'm happy to answer as we go here. Oh, you've got to click. Okay, so in terms of what the program actually involves, in terms of just kind of putting your course schedule together. So this is kind of the core of what you need to do just as an econ major. Should all look familiar, right? So you got to take principles, calc, you need to take all those required econ courses. So you might be wondering, gosh, how am I going to be able to fit in this concentration on top of everything else that I have to take as an econ major? It turns out to be not that much more. So I think we need to flip to the next. So in addition, as part of this concentration, you'll need to take those first 3 classes. So financial economics, and I can talk in a minute a little bit more about what each of these courses entails, but you would take that in the fall. And then if you didn't study abroad, you would take that asset pricing or asset pricing theory course the next semester, so spring of junior year. If you do study abroad, it needs to take place spring of junior year, and then you would take that course senior year. And we can talk more about that in a minute. And then you come back as a senior and you take financial econometrics. So that would be the kind of the typical sequence of courses. And so that's 3 extra courses. The key thing here is that those 3 courses count towards your econ electives. So they contribute toward fulfilling your requirements for the econ major. Now, to complete the concentration, you also need to take 2 additional electives, econ electives. Well, not necessarily econs, but 2 electives that are somehow finance related. So there are a few courses over in ACMS that qualify. I think there's one in the business school that we've allowed. 1 or 2, right? There's the real estate course.
I feel like art of investing is counted for.
Art of investing. So there's a couple different ones in the business school. And then in our department, some that have qualified are forecasting, international macro,
Advanced macro,
money and banking,
money and banking.
probably 1 or 2 more.
Yeah.
So we kind of understand finance pretty loosely in terms of what we allow to count for those last 2 electives.
With the general econ major, everybody takes the same core, whether you're international econ, you take your principles, calc, intermediates, stats and metrics. And then for the general econ major, it's 4 electives. For the international econ major, it's 2 electives in that senior research project. So it's either 3 or 4 classes, depending on whether you're econ or international econ. This is like this in terms of accounting, like this is 5 classes, right? So it's 5 classes where you got 3 required classes and then 2 electives that have to meet certain criteria that are like founded or we're grounded in the concentration. So if you're a general econ major, you could think like this is gonna tack on like one additional 3 credit hour class that I'm gonna have to take.
Yeah, because you need 5 here, whereas you would only need 4 if you weren't doing the concentration to complete the major.
Is anybody international econ here? If they're not, then I'm gonna phrase everything in terms of general econ majors then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the enriching experience class.
Well, then there's a writing intensive, but any of those,
Oh.
any of those two electives, you could find one that would be writing intensive and finance related. And so it would check several boxes in terms of meeting your requirements. And then yes, so the enriching experience class, that's a 1 credit course that right now meets every Monday from 5:30 to 6:30. And we require the students take it 3 out of the 4 semesters in their junior and senior year. So again, if you're studying abroad, one of the semesters, you can satisfy this requirement. In terms of what that course is about, so about half of the times that we meet, we bring in people from the real world to talk about careers in finance. So think of like private equity managers, some really important people. We have a variety of CEOs, CFOs, editor of the Wall Street Journal, managing editor of the Wall Street Journal. We're really lucky because we have so many alums who have important positions in companies in the world of finance, and they're always eager to come back and talk to students. What do they talk about? I pretty much when they agree to come and talk, I just tell them talk about whatever you want. You know, whatever you're fired up about. Could be a deal that you did recently. Could be a big research project that you're undertaking to understand what's going on in markets. It could be a big lesson you learned over your career in terms of how to manage people. It's pretty much anything. And these are really interesting people. And I've only had in 9 years, maybe 3 duds. I won't identify them because it's being recorded. No, but usually, yeah, students just love these people. And oftentimes the speakers are willing to, after their talk, to go out to dinner with 3 or 4 students. And that's always a fun experience to kind of work on your networking skills, pick the brain of someone really smart. And then in the classes when we don't have an outside speaker, we've done different things over the course of the 9 years. Right now, what we've been doing is stock pitches. So a group of 3 or 4 students will get up and they'll do a stock pitch for a company. And I like this, and I think the students like it because it kind of gives you an opportunity to fine tune your presentation skills. My understanding is that the kids over in Mendoza spent a lot of time doing presentations in PowerPoints, and you guys don't get as much opportunity, but it is a very good skill to practice, right? Getting up in front of people, being nervous as heck, and somehow fighting your way through it. And it also gives you a company that you will know really well. So if you have a job interview, gives you someone or some company that you can talk about very, very knowledgeably. Yeah, and also as part of that enriching experience class, we like to have some fun. So at least 1 or 2 classes, we'll do a pizza party or, like I said before, dinner at Brew Burgers or something like that. What
Questions
else?
about like the nuts and bolts, of, like the logistics behind the major? Like, so you can't study abroad in the fall. That's a super important thing to note.
Yeah, because financial economics and financial econometrics are only taught in the fall, and that's the reason. And we thought the asset pricing is when you take it is a little bit more flexible, whether it's junior or senior year, and so we put that in the spring, and we tell students to study abroad in the spring.
Any other questions?
I guess I could tell you a little bit about what the classes are about. So financial economics, the first one, I teach that. And the idea is to give you a broad overview. So starting with really basic stuff, like what are all the different securities out there? Stocks, bonds, convertible bonds, preferred equity. What are the institutions that are important in the world of finance? So mutual fund companies, investment banks, commercial banks, all that kind of nuts and bolts stuff. We get through that in like 2 or 3 weeks. How to buy a stock, how to short a stock, how to buy options, how do options work, all that kind of basic stuff. And then we go into what's known as portfolio theory. So if you were putting together your own portfolio, or if you were a portfolio manager, like at a mutual fund, what's the theory behind what you should do to construct a good portfolio? And that ends with what's known as the capital asset pricing model. which is kind of the most important model it's like a foundational model in finance. And it's a workhorse in finance in terms of how people in the world of finance think about risk and return trade-offs. So that's kind of the second module of the course. And then in the third, we switch gears and we look at things from the perspective of corporations. So if you're a CFO and you're trying to make decisions about whether to invest in a new factory or whether to invest in a new pharmaceutical research, trying to research a new drug, is it financially a good decision to do that or not? And if it is, where do you come up with the money necessary to build the factory or do the big R&D project? Do you issue stocks? Do you issue bonds? Do you do something else? If you have extra cash, do you pay dividends? Do you buy back debt? So all these decisions that CFOs have to make, that's basically what's known as corporate finance. And so really by the end of that first course, if you stopped there, you would know a ton about finance. I've had students tell me afterwards that, gosh, after that course, that's really all I needed to kind of nail my interview at JP Morgan. Okay, so you'll know the lingo and you'll know enough to not sound stupid, hopefully. Okay, asset pricing theory just digs in much deeper on kind of that second module, like portfolio theory, what determines the prices of assets, what determines why some assets should have an expected return of 15%, where some other assets, because they're safer, not as risky, might have an expected return of only 3%. There's a bunch of theory associated with that. And then financial econometrics is, kind of get your hands dirty with some data, fire up Stata or whatever your preferred software package is, and look at some data about some of these theories. Okay. Sounds fun, right? Yeah.
Do you usually see like students within the concentration add on like another minor or major?
Yeah, it's the Notre Dame thing to do. So there's lots of minors, majors, and second majors and minors. Yeah, I had a student.
It's a super wide range too.
Decent numbers do the real estate because they would just want to double down on kind of finance related stuff, but others do.
I mean, like I'll just do like a minor in philosophy or theology. Like there's all sorts of things, do. I can actually tell you what like the current cohort, what they do. Keep going.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
So are those two electives, do they count for our electives that we already used or separate?
No, they do. That was kind of the point we're trying to make before. Is that these aren't add-ons. These can count for all your other requirements. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then if I was like to take like a class like in the ACMS that counted for like the concentration, would it also count for the general econ or no?
Can't double count.
No, but he was saying no.
But it's fine. It can count for the concentration
Okay.
as long as it's not.
He was saying would it count as an econ elective? One of the 4 econ electives.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that is like a case that we've rarely come upon, and usually whenever we come upon those cases, we side towards leniency towards students.
It might depend a little bit on what the ACMS class is. Like I don't remember there's one that's called like financial derivatives or something. And I would say, yes, that's as much econ as an econ class that's called financial derivatives. But yeah, it would be, you just have to email me and Forrest and get approval in advance. But his point about not double counting is if you do count it towards the econ major or towards the concentration, ACMS doesn't let you also count it towards your requirements over there.
I'm gonna quickly rattle off some modal students. All right, these are all people that are in the concentration. This one woman has a minor in sustainability, collaborative innovation, and digital marketing, so 3 minors. Another one has a minor in classical studies, civilization, and data science. Another one has a minor in real estate and accounting. Accounting, honors track, minors in anthropology and collaborative innovation, more accounting, data science. Not a whole lot of double majors.
Yeah, there was a history there. There's a French there.
Okay.
There's usually 5 to 10 students are also ACMS majors.
Yeah. I'm just surprised I'm not seeing them pop up. Yeah, so like a wide range.
Theology major. Yeah,
Do we have to like apply for any of this?
yeah, we're gonna use that.
Deadline,
There you go.
March 1st.
Thank you for setting this up. Yeah, March 1st, this is like a 20-minute effort to fill out the application.
Yeah.
Maybe 25.
You have to put in you have to put in your name. We're glad you are. Should be a sophomore if you're blind. Some grades in your classes, like you're gonna self-report what you got in principles and calc or whatever like classes you've taken here. We'll make decisions quickly.
I think there's like a paragraph.
And there's like a paragraph for like 150 words or less, like why do you want to do this? Yeah. Criteria. You know, we're looking at your GPA.
Yeah, so in terms of like, who do we include and who do we exclude based on the application? We're not looking to exclude a large number of people. We do need to keep the program from like getting too large. Initially, I think our first cohorts were more on the order of 20 to 25. Recently, they've crept up closer to 35. I wouldn't want them to go much larger than 35. It just kind of loses the intimacy of the program and it becomes hard to. Yeah, I don't know. I just wouldn't want it much bigger than 35, but usually we get like 41, 42 applications. And so there's sometimes 6 or 7 students who will say, yeah, this is not for you. And it's usually based on looking at your grades. You're going to struggle in this. Like you really struggled in calc, you really struggled in intermediate micro or something like that. Or not necessarily that, but you haven't even taken intermediate micro or you haven't even taken your second calc class. Okay, so there'll be a couple one-off things like that where it just doesn't look like this is something where you're going to thrive. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, if you have so we do kind of, I think it's on the next, oh no, it's right there. We do like you to have completed intermediate micro theory by this semester.
But that's well within like, I mean, the timeline for the department is like, once you get done with intermediate micro, typically fall your sophomore year.
Once in a while, there's a transfer
I mean,
student who's
yeah.
had a problem getting that done, but you know, if you haven't completed it, just email us and we can talk about your situation.
Yeah.
You know, there's basically, if there's any questions that you have about whether this is a good fit for you, just feel free to email me.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim.
Are all of those elective classes like still open to general economics majors?
Those are.
The electives are, yeah.
Or like the three.
The 3 are not, and that's like by design. Like I'll have people ask me for overrides to take financial economics or asset pricing, and the answer is like no, because like we really kind of take this seriously that like we want to keep the class sizes for this relatively small. We want you guys to be like a cohort. Yeah. So in some sense, like you're giving yourself the opportunity to take some classes that econ majors wouldn't be able to take, but you are kind of like also pigeonholing yourself in. So like, you know, in the sense of like, instead of having like 4 electives where you can just like study everywhere, do anything, like you are like constraining yourself to taking 3 required courses and 2 electives, at least 2 electives. I mean, like you
Yes
can
or
take more
no, I
electives.
mean, you could choose not to do all these minors.
Yeah,
Right?
no, that's right. Like you certainly can take more electives. But of the required courses that you're gonna take, like you are like pigeonholing yourself into like, I'm gonna get really good at finance, right? So, and like there's pros and cons associated with that.
And then if you go back, when did we say we let them know?
March 15th.
Yeah, March 15th. We sent you an email and then what do they have to do if they're in? Sign up for.
Back in, but like, if you get approved, I'll send you an email. I'll say congratulations, been inducted into this prestigious cohort, the 10th cohort. And then I have to create an e-form that says like, oh, you're picking up the concentration, and that'll change your GPS. And yeah, that's kind of it. My handwritten letter, that'd be nice.
Certificate.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Any more questions? It's good to see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 females. This is a concentration that tends to skew pretty heavily towards dudes. This year, though, I'd say we've hit 40% females, which is really good. So it's happy. So please apply.
Paul, I don't care about you as much.
No,
Alright. Like, you know, as always, like, don't hesitate to reach out to me or to Mike, and especially like with any general advising questions, like, feel free to reach out to me or any of the econ academic advisors. But like, we're not gonna keep you just for the sake of keeping you, so, cool, stick around if you have questions.